Hi, I'm Christopher
Hi,
Sapp.
everybody. This is Bob
Hey guys,
Bergen.
this is Stephanie Shea.
Hey, I'm Veronica Taylor.
Hey everybody, this is Billy
Hey
West.
guys, I'm Ryan Colt Levy.
Hi, this is Kyle
Hi,
Aber.
this is Kira Bucket.
Hi, I'm Jameson Price.
Hi, I'm Sean Chiplock.
You are listening to Two Dads.
You're listening to
Two Dads.
Two dads.
Two dads.
Two dads.
Two dads.
Two dads.
Two dads
And
and
a
a
podcast.
A couple of dads on a podcast.
Yes, I feel powerful.
Two dads.
Podcast. Oh,
Man, we were not in sync.
damn.
We were not in sync.
Damn. Hi, welcome to Two Dads and a Podcast. My name is Felix the Human.
And
Across
I
from
am,
me,
of course, am
in the-
tired dead. It's been that
you
way
might
for a
notice
while.
my background changed.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank
You're
you.
welcome.
TD did a little organizational in my space.
Yeah, help him, look more like the nerd he really is.
You're right. I need help. I need presentational help quite a bit. So today we are talking about our favorite all-time Batman villains, and there are a ton to pick from.
Oh my goodness, there are.
A lot of character in this. A lot. And mostly because the longest running, like, on television, on screen superhero that I can think of. And there's been so much on screen to bring even more character to these
And
villains.
what there's not on screen, there's 50 times more in the comics that we haven't seen on screen that we would love to, of course.
Yeah. And
We
for
would love
any
to.
of you that have been following us from the beginning, Batman was the first topic we ever brought up. And it was going
Batman.
down
Batman.
our favorite
You know, fun
iterations.
little cute story to go along with that. Batman was the first topic my wife and I talked about when we met for the very first time.
Batman was the first movie you and I went to see in theaters together.
So it's a first of for many things and for many people, and we're gonna keep revisiting this. I have no doubt in my mind. We will keep revisiting The Man and the Cowl. But for now,
So I think
I'm
you can
gonna
go
start,
first this
yeah.
time. I think I went a couple times in a row on accident.
it's whatever. It doesn't really matter. So my number 5 is a classic, and classic being his first appearance was in Batman 121 in 1959.
Oh, wow.
And it's a little old scientist by the name of Victor Freeze.
Oh, yes.
Mr.
See,
Freeze.
he is very cool. I think my favorite iteration of him has been in some of the video games.
The Batman Arkham series, his iteration in that was amazing. Absolutely loved it.
They've taken him deeper and darker in the video games, as deep and dark as he has been in the comics, but not as much on screen. You don't see as much darkness. I think when you went to Arnold Schwarzenegger, unintentionally softened up the
funny
character.
Honestly.
Yeah. So when it came to stuff like that,
I like his character. And if you really go back to his early days, he wasn't Mr. Freeze. He didn't even have his name. He was just an unknown scientist. He was Mr. Zero. And then eventually became Mr. Freeze. But then later on, they gave him a backstory. They gave him a name. They gave him one of the more traumatic backstories out of the villains.
And very poetic.
It really is. All he wanted to do was save his wife. He wanted to save his wife, and he was trying to figure out how to do it, and he kept her frozen, and, as things do in comics, bad things happened. His body got messed up, and now he can only survive in sub-zero
one
temperatures.
Thing leads to another, yada yada. He's fucked up in the head now.
Yeah. I mean, on top of literally would die if he stayed at room temperature. You know?
I mean, it's a very cool concept. Of all of the villains, he is one of the most popular, well-known.
Definitely. I mean, he's been in movies, TV shows. He's been in the video games. He's everywhere. He is one of the staples of Batman villains, and he's not going anywhere. And I don't want him to, because I love the concept of this crazy scientist who, in the end, is still just trying to save his wife.
Yeah,
But he also has a
feel
little
bad.
bit of a taste for diamonds and revenge. So, you know,
But you feel bad for him often. Like you
Yeah.
find yourself having
sympathizing
the feels
for him.
for him.
Yeah.
Well, my number 5 is a little known man named Bruce Wayne. And
Nice.
this, for one, there is this concept of he is the bad guy. He is the reason why we have the bad guys. It's a thread throughout the whole
he is
thing.
bad
But
guy number 1.
then there is also the dark multiverse where he is literally a bad guy in many, many forms.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Not he in one iteration he is a Green Lantern that kills people. In another iteration he is the Joker that kills people. In my
What?
favorite iteration he is the Robin King.
Oh, man. I'm so happy you picked the Robin King, because this one is even more fucked up because he's literally a kid. He's still a kid.
And the backstory for the Robin King is just hilarious. So
Hilariously
Thomas-
dark. Jesus Christ.
Thomas, his mom and dad, when they come out and Joe Chill comes out to kill them, instead of before he gets the chance, this Bruce Wayne kid
Who is violent
stabs-
from birth. Violent from
stabs
birth.
the shit out of Joe Chill, shocks his parents, and then he shoots his parents,
and
and then
of course blames
everything
it on
Joe Chill.
Joe. Yeah, he blames it on Chill. And
Yada yada.
Alfred
fast forward.
tries to, like,
Well,
stick
Gordon
up for him.
Gordon comes to because he's found this evidence. He presents it to Alfred. So obviously Bruce kills Gordon, and then
As you do. As you do.
bashes. Was it Gordon? He bashes in with a
No, it was
bus?
Alfred.
or Alfred.
Yeah.
He bashes in with the bust and kills Alfred. So he's just crazy. He busts in with this like red R
on
and a crown of thorns.
And he
then-
literally he rings a handbell and he's like, I am the Robin King.
and all because at his parents' funeral a robin chirped, and he thought it made him so happy that this robin sang this beautiful song because he felt so much happiness from murdering his parents.
Dude,
Ah,
the Robin King is messed up. I love the art for it. I love the iteration. The panel where he kills his parents with that devilish grin and he's like blasting away. And so he started blasting. It's messed up, man. It's messed up.
and my favorite of them, and there have been so many evil Bruce Waynes throughout the history of Batman. And even the sort of overarching theme of, is Batman really a good guy? Does he really help? In the end, is he the one helping? Is an interesting philosophical question to ponder in our nerddom.
Oh, and if anybody was wondering, according to the DC fandom wiki, the Robin King is single. In case you're wondering. He's also killed everybody.
Yes, that's fact. The Hawk Girl and Hawk Man went after him, and
Adam Strange.
he
killed Adam Strange. he killed Barry Allen. You know.
Yes. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
If they've named him, he's killed him.
Yep.
So
that's good. That's good. I like that one. I'm so glad you picked. I'm so glad you picked the Robin King. It's so ridiculous.
It was just it's my favorite. Like the Batman Who Laughed looks the coolest. He looks so fucking badass, and there's so many of them that just look so cool.
Yeah.
And the Green Lantern Batman is fucking badass and powerful,
dude. The
but
Aquaman.
None
one,
of them.
she
None of
is
them
awesome.
feel.
I love that you have like the female iterations mixed in there too. It's wonderful.
Yeah,
it's wonderful.
But none of them feel as evil as the Robin King.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, we're moving on to number 4. And number 4, we're bringing it back into the main universe. We're bringing it back to the New Earth, a longtime friend of Bruce Wayne, childhood friend even. When he was a kid, he tried to kill his parents at 10 years old so he could get their wealth.
I mean, who hasn't?
And Thomas Wayne,
before this, he holds a grudge for his entire life.
he holds a grudge because Thomas Wayne saved his mom.
Yeah.
And this is the
funniest
whole
part.
reason he becomes this villain later on in life. And it's Hush.
Yeah.
It's Thomas Elliot. He shares a name with the man who saved his mom, and he hates him because of that. Honestly, like, the backstory is a little over the top, but what he did with the Riddler was just diabolical. It was probably one of the most well thought out processes of trying to get back at Batman out of any other villain. It was so well thought out, so well done, and the movie was fantastic. I had to pick Hush.
The movie, the Batman Hush, the animated movie, was great. Obviously didn't follow the comic book as prominently.
Not directly. There was a
him
lot
and
of
Riddler end up being one and the same.
Yeah,
but it was still. I mean, when you're rushing, they're like 100-minute movies.
Multiverse.
You gotta
multiverse.
You gotta
I'm fine
be able
with
to.
it.
Yeah,
I'm fine with it.
You gotta do some shit. You
got to. But yeah, the whole thing, and Elliot at one point, like, he was a good guy. He was a doctor. He was saving people.
Yep.
And then he met the Riddler, and the Riddler's like, haha, I know who Batman is, and you hate Thomas Wayne. Let's go kill this guy.
And if you haven't watched The Batman yet, watch it and look out for one of the fake IDs in that movie. It does say Thomas Elliot. It's a little tip of the cap to the Hush universe.
Yeah. Dude, and they brought so much of the Hush storyline into that Riddler character too. I loved it. It was so good.
Yeah, there were so many great references to both Hush, The Long Halloween, and all that. So my number 4 is nowadays not a character as commonly associated with Batman, but he got his start with Batman, and that is Deadshot. I think this is one of the most badass characters. Literally, he can hit any.
He doesn't miss. He doesn't miss
He
unless
is
he
literally
intends
the
to.
greatest marksman. Yeah. And even then, like, there's usually a reason.
Yeah.
I love
and
it.
His costume's
that
pretty sweet too.
Yeah, he looks pretty badass. The evolution of his costume has been pretty sweet. The red and silver is good. The very textured, more graphic depictions have been really stellar. And it kind of keeps that sort of... The costume hasn't changed wildly, although there have been varying levels of detailed depiction.
Yeah, they've updated it, make it a little more modern. And I'm fully down with that.
He's not always like a super villain, and in a lot of his life,
he's
he doesn't
an
even...
anti-hero in the Suicide Squad.
I don't think he views himself as a villain. He knows he's not a great guy. That's obvious to him. He's not stupid, but he doesn't see himself as a villain, really. He's a hired gun, literally what he is.
He's a mercenary.
He's an assassin. He's a merc.
That's what he does. That's what he does.
The character's way too cool.
I agree.
It's way too cool.
I like that Deadshot was part of yours. I was curious whether you're going to pick Deadshot or Deathstroke.
Right.
Because I know we've talked in depth about Deathstroke before. So
yeah, I didn't want to dig that one like too deep into
more
the ground.
More Teen Titans than it is Batman. And sometimes he even helps Batman. So yeah, I get why you went Deadshot. I like it.
If you had to choose between the two, I don't know.
Deadshot's the better villain.
Yeah, I just like Deadshot.
Yep.
I don't know.
Well, I like that you like Deadshot, so.
Thank you.
Well, we're moving on.
That sort of validation.
I'm here for you, man. I'm here for you. We're moving on to number 3, and number 3 is another staple, and it's Jonathan Crane, the Scarecrow.
Oh, nice. Hey, guess what? Guess what my number 3 is?
Is it the Scarecrow?
It is 100%, man. He is
he had to be.
I don't think he's not the worst enemy. He's not the most prolific. He's not even the most covered. But to me, he's the most terrifying.
I mean, it's in his name. He is the Scarecrow.
Yeah. Like the costume, the look, what he does to you.
Dude, the fear
scares
toxin,
the shit out of me.
man, with the Batman Arkham games and the whole fear toxin elements you had to play through, and those was intense. Seeing some of the movies where it totally just completely fucks with everything, it's fantastic.
For me, I think like this character is something that can continue to be explored, and I would love to see him in the new Batman, because as great as Murphy was, he's a great actor. 28 Days Later, he's fantastic. You could see his wiener. As great as he was as Scarecrow, they can make it darker. They even darker,
I want them
even
to.
creepier.
Dude, with the way the new Batman movie was,
Yeah,
I would be so excited to see a Scarecrow in that universe.
or even
I would be
on the
so excited to see a Scarecrow.
you put him in the TV shows that they're making currently, make him an arcing character in one of the seasons of the TV shows that are coming up. That would be, man. Yeah, let somebody with like a horror movie background get their hands on that character and see what they do with that. Because that'd be
yeah.
terrifying.
Let's get a horror movie, Batman movie, in kind of the way that the new Doctor Strange is kind of your Marvel horror movie. Give me something
'cause
like that.
That
movie should have been rated R. That movie should have been rated R. I'm just
Plenty
throwing
of
that out there.
characters to choose from in the Batman universe to really up the ante. I mean, Scarecrow has appeared in a ton of stuff, from Long Halloween, obviously. He appears in Batman Hush. He is never, until maybe The Dark Knight, the first movie, where he is still not the only main focus.
He's not the main.
He's the big bad guy at the end.
Yes, but he's not the only antagonist.
Right. He hasn't gotten his fair due, you know? But there are so many characters I know they want to work into this universe. They've even thrown out Calendar Man as a character they want to explore. And
I'm totally down for that. As silly as Calendar Man is, I'm totally down for it.
There's a ton to fucking choose from. And where do you start? I think this is an interesting character you can put into the TV show and not worry about having to eat up more big screen time and flesh out some more details, kind of like you're going to be doing with the Penguin getting his spin-off.
Oh yeah.
You can do with some of these other characters that people are kind of just waterlogged on seeing repeated over and over in the movies. Like, you know, we get it sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I want to see what they do with it.
Well, since we both had the same number 3, we're gonna go jump right into my number 2, which may surprise you.
Is it Kite Man?
No.
Is it Polka Dot Man?
No, we're on the favorite list, not the ridiculous list.
Is it Egghead?
No, it is,
because he is just fascinated with eggs. It is in the name.
This character, we don't know who he is, and I'm pretty sure that gives it away. At least it should, pretty quickly. It's Joker.
I mean, we've been told many times. It's just that at that point, that's a gag in and of itself. Now,
I mean,
you know,
it all depends. Was that really his name? Was that really how he became the Joker? Was it
exactly?
You know, there's the Red Hood.
Is Joaquin Phoenix's version canon now? Yeah,
so there's so many different ways. I love the Joker, and he is not my number 1. Not because he's not the most intense villain that Batman has. He is the perfect villain to Batman. Batman is
this is truth.
Literally, they are the yin and yang together. They have this beautiful dance of hero and villain, and the whole thing with the Joker that it evolved into is him wanting to simply get in Batman's way. That's it. There's no other rhyme or reason to what he's doing. He just wants to get in Batman's way. He doesn't actually want to kill him. He wants to maim him until an inch of his life, depending on what the comics that you're reading. Yeah,
I mean, there's been times where he wants to kill him, but then he learns the value of the lesson.
Yes.
He understands.
If any show has done their relationship justice,
He
it's how they're
understands that if
portrayed
there was
in
no
the-
light, there would be no darkness.
that's right. But if any show portrays their relationship any better, in Harley Quinn, the beginning of Harley Quinn, when she thinks Joker's talking about her and all this stuff, no, all he does, he loves Batman, and that's it. That is his only joy in life, is fighting Batman.
Right.
Sorry, I love
No.
Harley. It's hilarious. Harley Quinn is a fantastic show. It's so funny. Especially the
So,
way they portray this.
I did not put Joker in my top 5. One, it seems like,
It's on the nose,
yeah,
but there's a reason for it.
True.
There's a reason for it.
I think he is a great villain. I don't think he's Batman's best villain, greatest villain. I think he benefits from having the most material written about him.
Sure.
But
Sure. And he's had
he
dark, he's
will-
had funny, he's had everything in between.
he will never kill the Batman. He has, but he won't again. No,
He won't again. You can't kill me twice.
Yeah, he is certifiable, insane in every sort of way, psychotic, manic, sociopathic.
Take a
like,
breath.
He is everything, and he is Mark Hamill, and
Who is by far, we've talked about this, the best iteration of Joker.
that's the way you make a character, right there.
Yep.
That's the way you become a legend. It is. Yeah, I love it.
I love him.
There are
He truly is, like I said, he is just certifiably evil. There's no other reason. If we're on a D&D alignment chart, he's chaotic evil. That's it. There's nothing else that could fit his personality.
That's one of the best lines in a movie is Michael Caine's, "Some people just want to watch the world burn." I mean, that's such a the best way to sum him up.
The best way.
And that was such a perfect line, and it was delivered perfectly. I loved that movie too.
Yep.
So my number 2, I'm taking you back. Far back to about 10 minutes ago. I chose Hush, or Dr. Thomas Eliot.
I knew he
because
was going to be on your list.
Oh, I love the fucking stories they
knew.
come up with. I love the stories they came up with this with
Look,
the
I
comics
don't
books were
know
fantastic.
much past the Batman Hush element, but reading up on it, I definitely need to read more of these comics because it's intense. It gets kind of crazy.
Hush and Riddler really do some twisted shit. You know, they use, Clayface, who is a fantastic one.
Fantastic villain.
Yeah, they create a Jason Todd with Clayface. They really fuck with Batman's head in such a messed up way, like you said. And they were childhood friends, and it's such a great storytelling through the comics.
Well, and the fact that he knows who Batman is, he knows.
Which, by the way,
he's Bruce Wayne.
When the fuck are we getting a Clayface on the screen? I mean, that has to happen.
With CG the way it is, I don't see why not.
We've had a Killer Croc. Why? Give me a little Clayface. That is a fantastic story arc there too. They incorporated so much from the Joker, Poison Ivy into this. They even brought back some JLA alliances into this story arc. And it is such good storytelling.
There are so many intertwined characters with Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn and Selena Kyle and Scarecrow. He even partners up with Scarecrow at one point.
Yeah, and the book's part of a tandem written by Jeff Loeb, who was also who's the director of the new Batman movie again?
I don't know. I don't really pay as much attention to who's directing it. I just watch it.
You gotta pay attention to that shit, man. So Matt Reeves wrote and directed the new Batman. His college professor who taught him script writing, I think it was script writing was his class, was Jeff Loeb, who wrote the Hush movies or the Hush comics. So obviously there's that connection. This is why you see a lot of Hush reference in the new Batman movie. Given this guy literally went to school.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, and I like you said, the Hush animated movie was so well done.
It
So
was,
very
even
well
though
done.
they kind of mashed together some of the storyline with them.
Yeah, some of the plot line, which I didn't dislike what they did with it.
I didn't mind it.
So it's one of my favorite characters. He's fucked up. He really has no reason to be this messed up.
No,
But he is, and he does some dark and twisted shit.
It's almost like the Joker in that sense, except he's not certified.
Yeah, it felt like they were trying to create something.
He's not insane.
They not tried. They succeeded in creating a fresh perspective of this dude who you have no reason to feel bad for him, and
Nope.
he's just crazy. I loved
He
it.
tried to kill his parents at 10 years old.
Well, to be fair, so did Bruce Wayne in a dark multiverse dimension. That wasn't actually reality. So yeah.
So, yeah. I'm curious as to what your number one is now, though.
Ooh.
But before we find
You
out
can
yours,
figure it out.
we've got
With
to...
enough guesses.
Well, yeah. But mine, we're going back a little bit. His first appearance was in 2017, and he is the Wrangler for the Robin King,
Nice.
the Batman Who Laughs.
Yes.
I love this character. Bruce
I want a statue
Wayne
of him
as the Joker.
He is the Joker.
He is the
He
Batman
gets-
Who Laughs. It is probably
And I
literally
love how
take
they
the
wrote
Joker
him.
and
Because
take how
they didn't just like
Ugh.
they made him like he got fucked up by the same shit. They made him the Joker.
he truly
Ugh.
is a Batman
And this
Joker.
Bruce Wayne as the Joker becomes a god. Like
Yeah, that's all there is to it.
that's what happens.
You
when
take the
combine
chaotic
these-
evil and you mix it with the deadly precision and training that you get from Bruce Wayne, and you get the most diabolical being in existence.
He wasn't supposed to. He was a lieutenant to what's her name?
Barbados?
Yeah.
And he's the leader of the Dark Knights. Barbados is the Bat God. You know, it's I love this storyline. I loved the comics. I read it the second I had a chance to read everything that had anything with the Dark Days and the Dark Knights, metal.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Metal,
I still need to
he's-
read Death Metal, but I know he gets
I've got all the
even
issues.
more intense with Death Metal.
Oh yes.
From Metal, because Metal, he was messed up. He literally has what are called groblins. They're literally goblin robins, and he's got them on chains.
Bro, he takes Robin King under his wing, and like that duo.
It's literally Bruce Wayne with Bruce Wayne, except it's Batman and Robin. Except
he finally finds his perfect Robin.
He does.
It's him.
It's him.
He just needed him.
The Dark Knights as a whole, like if I could have put the Dark Knights as a whole on here, I would have. But we discussed earlier, we're not going to do that. It's got to be specific. So I picked the Batman.
I
Who
mean,
Laughs.
I sort of cheated and ran through a few because I just was like, these guys.
Well,
are
yeah,
so fucking
you have the
cool.
Drowned, which was your Aquaman. You have Dawnbreaker, the Green Lantern, the Merciless, the Devastator, the Murder
Just
Machine,
that
the Red
name,
Death. Dude, the Red Death
Yeah.
was pretty intense too.
Right, but just the name of the Green Lantern one, Dawnbreaker.
The Dawnbreaker. Oh,
Oh my
man,
gosh.
twisting the willpower ring to feed on darkness is so good. Such a good storyline. But the Batman Who Laughs, the second I saw this character, I was like, is that fan made? Like,
It was too
it's
cool.
so good.
It's still too cool.
It
Yeah.
really is. It really is one of the coolest looking characters I have ever seen come out of these comics. The spikes around it. He doesn't even see anything. His eyes are completely covered.
I know. How much cooler does that make it? Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. Scott Snyder's
Bruce
such a good
Wayne
writer.
is Bruce Wayne's greatest enemy.
Yeah.
And this,
So that brings
this
you-
is a great metaphor, like personified in Bruce
Right.
Wayne being his greatest enemy.
So on the nose.
Oh, I love it.
And
I love
that's
it.
what I love about these comics, and that's sort of the overarching theme of Batman that fucking makes me want to pull my hair out. And it kind of, you can apply it to the real world. Like, why do we have all this evil corruption in the world? Well, because we put it out there
Yep.
ourselves.
Yep.
So my number one is my favorite all-time storyline. I
Oh.
think was Death in the Family.
Oh man.
And so when Jason Todd comes back
Oh.
as Red Hood,
Oh.
it is some of the most heartbreaking, because they did Jason Todd
they did
dirty.
him wrong, man.
They did him dirty. Not only did they make him a shitty Robin at first, and kind of a person you didn't really like, then they just fucking fan mail killed him. The motherfuckers had to call in to kill him. They voted on it. All right? And they did. The Joker
they
just
did.
wailed on him.
And I love the name. I love him taking up that Red Hood mantle because part of one of the origins of the Joker was he was the Red Hood.
The Red Hood.
And he fell into the chemicals. So I love that tie-in where he kind of takes up that mantle. Now, don't get me wrong, later on he switches sides, he becomes a good guy, but he is definitely one of the most devastating villains and people to go up against Batman because he knows Batman.
And really, they finally redeemed his character because of this, and his Red Hood and him, he finds his own redemption in the comics. But they made Jason Todd somebody cool and somebody you loved to watch just be badass. He stops sucking at this point, and a lot of this has to do with his original this grudge he has with Dick Grayson, and sort of the Robin curse is this having Dick Grayson kind of cloud over you as he keeps coming back all the time. But it was such a good storyline. I loved seeing it come back in the TV show, in the Teen Titans TV show on HBO, and
dude, having him
that's
as
how I'm watching it.
Having him as villain, spoilers for an old ass game at this point, but Batman Arkham Knight, where he was the Arkham Knight persona, but then later on it's revealed it's Red Hood.
The animated movies are fantastic with this, and really twisted. Still, they don't really pull the punches.
We've talked about this time and time and time again. The DC animated films are fantastic.
Yes,
absolutely,
they really do a good job.
Them. When he gets killed, it is probably one of some of the most brutal panels in a comic book ever.
Yeah,
it's horrifying looking through it and reading this story of him being just beat with this crowbar.
And that smile and the blood, and it leads to some of my favorite all-time storylines. It leads to some real defining moments for Batman, to this place where he didn't think about the consequences to taking these kids and turning them into his own personal weapons. This was really the result. This was the darkest place it could have gone for a failed Robin experiment, which was kind of what it was. It may not have been the darkest place. We've had some other fucked up Robin stories. But initially, initially this was
since
was terrifying.
Then we've had some more messed up stuff. But
I think I probably take that statement back.
Back up, rewind, ignore that.
At the time, it was like this is where it can lead, and so I loved it. And he was a fantastic bad guy too. He was the perfect bad guy at the time, especially for Batman. He knew Batman. He knew how he worked. He knew him intimately. Batman. He knew him so intimately that it fucking caught Batman off guard in a major way and really fucked everybody up. He was able to play such fucking head games with him because of it.
Oh yeah.
And, it was just great. It was fantastic. So kudos to the turning that flop
Oh man,
into such a good thing.
I'm looking at the panels for this,
Well, yeah,
and
do that to yourself.
when the Joker hits him with the crowbar and literally says, "This is going to hurt you a lot more than it does me," and it's just 6 panels of him swinging this crowbar down at essentially a child.
So whether you're a fan of Polka Dot Man, Kite Man, Headhunter,
Just
Cavalier,
naming off of your ridiculous list.
Calendar Man, Bane, they've done some fantastic stuff.
Bane,
with
they've had
Bane.
some really cool stuff. Yeah,
This newest Riddler. Honestly, the only reason the Riddler is not on my list is because of all those years he was really campy as shit.
oh yeah,
And the fact that his name is
look, Jim
Edward
Carrey's
Nygma.
Riddler is still iconic.
Still
iconic.
The fact that his name is Edward Nygma, and I think the dumbest
Enigma.
name for a fucking character has ever been Enigma. But he's still fantastic.
We've got some other
character right now.
fantastic ones with Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn. They're not on here
yes.
for me only because they're not really directly villains. Well, Poison Ivy was, but Harley Quinn, she just kind of followed the Joker around for a very long time.
Yeah, and they're getting redemption right now, especially
And they're not really
Ivy
villains
and
at this
Harley.
point. They're, I mean,
No,
okay, they kind of are. They're anti-heroes.
Transitioned into anti-heroes, and you know they're flirting with being good guys.
Yep,
And same with Catwoman's never really been a villain.
She was always kind of
she's always
that
been
gray
the
area.
anti-hero.
But now she's definitely more of a hero than even an anti-hero. You know, we have the League of Assassins. They're really cool. We have Ra's al Ghul, and he's really cool. And
My favorite thing ever is the Court of Owls, you know, Talon.
That
and,
whole thing is pretty awesome,
so
too.
Fucking good. I they need to make
well,
that.
and the Court of
into-
Owls ties into the Barbados and the Dark Multiverse and the Dark Knights. And
Even Hush has been tied in with the Court of Owls. It's yeah, so much great storytelling. I can't wait to.
So
to
I will
watch it
say
all.
one thing that I like with DC. DC does seem a little bit like, of course, there's storylines that go everywhere, and depending on whose comics you read, it's a completely different timeline. But with DC, you can pick a timeline. I want to know more about this Batman and read through, and that's it. You're good. Marvel gets a little nuts, as we talked about with Tony Stark and his Iron Man suits.
Well, you know, I've always said it. DC movies have generally not been they've not been great at creating
Live action?
a DC
No.
cinematic universe.
Nope.
Marvel did it a fantastic job in recent history. When you go to the comic books, it's opposite. Like Marvel is so hard to follow on the comic books. There's so many different lines. DC, not as bad, but
there's still some confusing parts and stuff, but not as bad.
Yeah, but it's a lot easier to follow. They make it easier to follow, and they make it clear a little more so which universes are completely separate.
Well, we've taken up enough time. We want to know what your favorites are. Let us know. Reach out to us on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. I'm very active on Twitter. On YouTube, you can comment on our videos. 2dap2020. It's the same everywhere. Go do it. 2dap2020@gmail.com. Yep. Email us. We will email you back unless you send us things we don't want to see. We still might email you back. Who knows? But of course.
Next time on Two Dads and a Podcast.
Next time on Two Dads and a Podcast, maybe we'll visit some comic book crossovers or something like that.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be pretty fun. And we've talked about that a little bit. Some of the comic book crossovers, or maybe not even just comic books. We could do Universal crossovers, some fun things. Scooby-Doo did a lot of those. Scooby-Doo did a lot of those.
Batman Scooby-Doo is famous.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And soon we're going to revisit our banned card list.
Yep, we like our trading card games. So we've got lots of stuff coming up, guys. Keep in tuned. But until then, thank you so much for listening.
Well,
we love you all.
Check out YouTube.